shit from the
You're going to hate me because I come to your town and we beat your team.
You're now tuned in to one of the realest sports podcasts for Kentucky basketball.
3 in the air, good again!
And football.
The Kentucky defense steps up again.
Just an opinionated Kentucky sports fan podcast.
Maybe that's a Kentucky accent.
With Jay Hayes and JD Hall. This is what we do.
Let's go!
Religiously Kentucky.
Big Blue Nation, what is up? I'm your guy, Jay Hayes, and he is
the voice of reason, JD Hall.
And we are Religiously Kentucky. Congratulations to Cincinnati Bengal fans. Who they? How do you feel about that? I mean, because I'm not a Cincinnati fan.
Oh,
I'm not a Reds fan.
I'm a Browns fan, so I'm not a Bengals fan.
Right. I'm not a Reds fan, and I'm not a Bengals fan. I'm a Cleveland Indians fan and a Packers fan. But hey, congratulations. I mean, I will say this though. I will be rooting for the Rams.
Yeah, whichever team comes out of the NFC is the team that I will be rooting for.
Right. And so, my wife has decided that she's a Bengals fan now. And she's like, that's like our team. And I'm like, no, it's not. But sort of, kind of, maybe a little bit. Some people argue that. I mean, they have a good argument. It's just an hour and a half away from us here in Lexington. But hey, how's it going? But yeah, but yeah, congratulations to Bengals fans. What a game. That was a great game. So hats off to you guys.
It was a crazy game. Like
now I'm screaming, go Rams. I mean, it is what it is because I do not like the 49ers. They have beat my team down and they have beat my team down. The Packers. So
Rodgers is the quarterback against the Niners.
Oh man.
So I guess Rodgers wasn't able to make them pay for passing on him.
Right. So I'm for anyone who beats the Niners. If the Niners win, then of course I gotta
root for the Niners.
No, I have no choice but to root for Cool Joe or Joey Cool or Shiesty Joe or whatever his name is.
Do I like Joe Burrow? Yeah, I like Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
I got nothing against the kid.
He's super cool.
I like that. As a Browns fan, I just physically cannot root for the Bengals. it's just not happening. So
right.
Whichever team comes out of the NFC is the team that I'll be rooting for.
Right.
But
I can't root for the 49ers. There's no way. Who
saw Patrick Mahomes choking like that though?
Right. Did he choke though?
Oh,
I mean, I saw a Terry Brown tweet and what was he doing there at the last little bit? Point shaving there.
I don't know what he was doing.
Like he was like, okay, I'm here. Come get me. Hurry.
Right.
Hurry.
Well,
I mean, like, what the
hell? And again, like if you're Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid, why are you calling passes on the goal line when you're at the 4-yard line? Right?
Yeah.
Come on. Like
it was weird.
Run the ball.
It was kind of weird.
Run that timeout. And then if you score with no time, like you're not losing yardage because of a 15-yard sack.
Right.
So that was a little weird to me, the way they handled that goal to go situation at the end of the fourth quarter.
It was weird. Yeah.
It was weird. Also the goal, like the end of the first half. Like you got 5 seconds, dude. Like if you don't throw the ball to the end zone, you better kick the field goal.
Right.
Me, I would have just lined up, kicked the field goal, take the points going into half. Right?
Right.
How big were those 3 points now?
Yeah, huge. Yeah.
Because you don't even go to overtime because you kicked that field goal at the end of the fourth quarter.
Right.
To win the game.
And then it goes to overtime, and everybody's bitching about the overtime rule.
Well, overtime. Now,
So
the
now-
overtime rules in the NFL suck. Yes,
Right.
they suck.
And if your team wins, then it's like, oh, that's a great rule.
Then they're great. But at that level, make a play, get a stop if you want the ball.
Right.
Like that simple as that. And they made a stop. They got their stop. The Bengals did.
Yep.
And the Bills couldn't do it with 13 seconds to go to force overtime. The Bills couldn't stop the Chiefs.
All right.
And then in overtime, they couldn't stop the Chiefs. It wasn't about the overtime rules with the Bills, Kansas City. You gave up a field goal with 13 seconds to go.
Yeah.
And yes, you lost the coin toss, but all you had to do was make a stop, and they just couldn't do it. The Bengals, on the other hand, stepped up. They got their stop.
Right.
And not only did they get their stop, they got their stop, which resulted in them getting the ball on the 45-yard line instead of back at the 20.
Right.
Or whatever if they had punted the ball. So how big is that 25 yards there? So the Bengals did what they needed to do in that overtime period to get the ball and win the game on just a kick.
Without having to
go. Man, like
you ain't having it, are you, Jay?
I can't. I'm not going to cheer for the Bengals. It's not going to happen.
Right.
So, but congrats to the Bengals and Bengals fans. Like, enjoy it. Like,
definitely enjoy it. But we're not going to give you a lot of time to talk about that because we're to talk about Kentucky and a great week in Kentucky basketball. Starting with Mississippi State and an overtime game. What did you think about that game?
You could see how important Ty was to that team in that game.
Yeah.
Right? Because it was obvious Davion Mintz, last 10 minutes of that second half, he had nothing for Iverson Molinar. Like, Molinar was abusing Mintz. Backdoor cuts, driving past him. Now, Mintz, to his defense, was in foul trouble and probably couldn't play as physical as he needed to play to stop him. However, the fact still remain, like, your foul trouble doesn't cause you to get beat backdoor. So that was huge. I think maybe a little bit of fatigue might have played an issue with those guys because they had to play so many minutes at Auburn. Then you turn around and you're playing all those minutes again against Mississippi State. But they were able to pull it out. You go into the overtime period, it was kind of like they reset, and the defense that we saw from them in the first half is what we saw from them in that overtime period. They were able to outscore them 10-2, I think it was in that overtime period, to get that win. So, a win is a win. You always want to winning ugly is still a win. It still counts the same in the win column as if they would have won by 20.
Right.
So I didn't really take much from that game. Grady struggled shooting the ball, which played a part into it. But in overtime, he came up and he hit two huge threes. And that overtime period actually scored the first 8 points of overtime. So Oscar, I mean, what is there to say? I mean, 21 and 20 or 22 and 21 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
His fifth 20 rebound game of the season. There's nothing you can say about Oscar that hasn't already been said. Like, the kid is just killing it. And if he's not the SEC Player of the Year, I don't know who is.
Right.
And if he's not in the running for National Player of the Year, then their list is wrong.
Right. I
And
told
they're not watching basketball.
Oscar Sheboy is different. I mean, like he hustles and he's just a great kid, man. And he's there, and it's led to the other guys. You're starting to
Imagine
see now these guys stepping up.
imagine how good Oscar could be though if he played hard and
Yeah.
worked hard,
Right.
right? Because according to Huggy Bear, he doesn't play hard or work hard. So imagine like he's doing this and he doesn't work hard.
Right. Well, I mean,
So,
like, and we'll get to the Kansas game, but like Bill Self said,
mhm.
his stats are amazing, but they don't even tell how good he
Right.
really is.
Right, because he demands so much attention on every rebound.
Right.
I mean, a huge example of that, might as well just start talking about the Kansas game. Was
Well, let me
there?
get here real quick. Kentucky does win
Mhm.
82-74, beating Mississippi State in
Right.
overtime at Rupp Arena. And I wanted to bring this up real quick. Dante Allen. We had a
Yeah.
Dante Allen sighting in this game.
That
He played 18 minutes
at 18 minutes. Yep, he scored
and
what 5 points.
5 points.
He had that crazy putback dunk, which
Well,
Rupp went nuts.
that's what I wanted to talk about because I didn't think the dunk was all that. What I did think was all that was his awareness of being out there and coming in for a rebound. His
But
awareness of that I thought was beautiful.
anytime you have that kind of a putback dunk, though, it's going to
Right.
be exciting.
Right. Oh, no, it was exciting, but if you go back and look at that dunk, I don't know.
No, I get what you're saying,
It wasn't
but
all that.
like the crowd exploded when he
Yeah.
when he did that.
Right.
But when Grady drove the basket and when that shot went up, he was at the 3-point line.
Right.
So, we've never complained about how hard that Dante plays.
Right.
He always goes out there and he plays hard and he busts his ass every game. He plays as
Right.
hard as he can. The issue with Dante was always just being lost on defense and really lost on offense because he doesn't really know what to do off the ball to get open or anything like that. So, but in this game, he was able to minimize those issues.
Right.
He had the 2 blocks in the game. He had 5 points. He hit a 3. It wasn't the Dante Allen we saw last year against Mississippi State where he just went nuts from 3.
Yeah.
But he didn't do anything because he still struggled to shoot the ball. But he didn't do anything on the defensive end to really negate those issues.
Right.
He didn't give up, 12 points and only score 5 and be minus 7 because he was +2 in his time out there on the floor.
Right. His awareness, I was like that was so much better to me than that dunk.
Right.
And which led to the dunk, of course. But that's what I was hyped about is seeing him out and paying attention in game and getting that. So shout out to him, man. That's progress, and I love to see that. But with that being said, Kentucky did pull the win out in overtime. But moving right along into the weekend, Kansas, number 5, game day. Exciting time, and no one I expected to win, but there was a lot of negative people on Twitter, and I'm sure a lot of Kentucky fans saying, we're not going to win this.
We're not going to
Kentucky
win.
Doesn't win the big game.
It's another top 25 team we're going to lose to.
Right.
Yeah.
Not only did we win, we dominated the whole game.
Yes.
I mean, kicked the living shit out of Kansas and Bill Self. And
once Kentucky got the lead,
it was
at 6-5. They never trailed again.
Right, and it was just it was a statement. And
absolutely a statement.
I mean, Oscar Sheboy is just amazing, but he's so amazing that you just said a while ago they have to put attention to him and left Brooks just to have
and what I was talking about wasn't about Brooks necessarily, but he takes up so much attention in the paint on rebounds. A key example of that was late there in the second half. There's a shot that goes up. He busts his ass back to the paint because he's kind of between the paint and the 3-point line. Busts his back there. Busts his ass back there. Looks for Brown, I think it was. Puts a body on him. The other guy on the outside of Oscar comes down to box Oscar out. Nobody blocks out Jacob Toppin, and he comes in for the easy tip. Those are the kind of plays that don't show up in the box score for Oscar, but then lead to either a rebound, a putback, or something else for somebody else on the team.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, Oscar goes for 17 and 14. I think he had 1 block, 3 steals, and no, I don't think he had a block because I don't think Kentucky didn't have any blocks in the game.
No, 0.
But I think he had 3 steals. And we're not talking about Oscar. We're just like, it's another game for Oscar. And part of that is because Keon Brooks comes in and goes for 27 and 8.
Yeah.
Right. And scored 15 of the first 17 points in the second half for Kentucky.
In which we thought he might be out because he got a little injury right there in the beginning of the game.
Got poked in the eye.
Yeah.
By Oscar. I had to go back and I was watching it today.
Right.
And I'm like, what happened? I guess I still missed it. So I had to rewind it and go back and start watching it again. And I saw he just got caught by Oscar's hand there.
Right.
But between him and Toppin, the 4 spot scored 38 points. You'll take that every game.
Yeah.
38 points. And I'm happy to see that it was Brooks because I think Brooks gets a little too much hate from the fan base.
Right.
Because he came into the game, he was the second leading rebounder on the team. He was averaging over 10 points a game. So it's not, and he was only averaging like a little over 1 turnover a game. So it's not like he's this walking turnover. It's not like he's a big goose egg in the scoring column every game. If Oscar wasn't there, he'd probably be averaging 7 or 8 rebounds a game instead of the 4.4 he was averaging.
Right.
So I think I was really happy to see that happen for him because he gets so much undeserved hate from some of the people in the fan base. Now, can you complain about sometimes when he comes out there and he just doesn't have that energy that you want him to have? Yeah. But some people take it too far. Yeah. And calling him a bum and he doesn't deserve to be here. He should have left. And, he's been here 3 years and he hasn't gotten any better. And that couldn't be further from the case.
Right.
Not getting any better.
Just looking at these stats, I mean, Oscar, 17 points, 14 rebounds. Brooks, 27 points, 8 rebounds in 29 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Kellen Grady played 37 minutes, 12 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist. Willer, 7 points, 8 assists, 3 rebounds. And then I get to Ty Washington.
Mm-hmm.
2 points, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds.
One of 9 from the floor.
Had a bad night shooting, and people are
Mm-hmm.
quick to point that out. Like, oh, I mean, he ain't all that. I don't know what you're watching, but what I'm watching is phenomenal.
What I watched was a kid who, had he done that in the Duke game, what did we see him do? He kind of shut down everywhere else. He didn't play hard on offense. He wasn't moving a lot with the ball or off the ball. His defense kind of lacked. Trevor Keels kind of went off on him. That didn't happen in this game. He did so many other things to help win this ball game. And you saw the effect that having Ty back on this team and on the floor playing had on the defense. Because
he's disruptive on the defense.
Very disruptive because he might only be 6'3", 6'4", but he's long.
Yeah.
And he plays gaps really well. And his on-ball defense is phenomenal. And he fights through screens better than any other guard on the team. Like, everything he does
I want to throw
outside
Grady
of the
in that
scoring
conversation too.
Grady played great defense because he was the primary defender on Abaji last night.
Right.
And he scored 13 points. So, but there were times that Wheeler switched on to him, and Brooks and Top, so the defense overall on Abaji was great. But not having Ty out there on the defensive end
hurts.
It hurts. I mean, to me, that was a big reason we had so many issues at Auburn with the screen and roll, because we didn't see them doing that in the first 9 minutes.
Right.
But after he went out, they kind of had a field day with that. And we saw in the Mississippi State game, if Davion was struggling like he was on defense, you would have put Ty in there, and probably don't go to overtime. We probably win that game by 15 or 20. And then he comes out in this game, and he puts so much pressure on your offense because he's so good at defense, but also on your defense because you can't just lay off of him. You've got to respect him as a shooter. So that opens it up a little bit more for everybody else. You've got to you're pulling that defender farther away from the paint than you would have if he's not out there. And it adds that secondary ball handler, that secondary playmaker. Because like you said, he had 5 assists.
Yeah.
And what do you have? 1 turnover? So 5 to 1 assist to turnover ratio. I don't care that he only scored 2 points. I expected a little bit of rust on that end from him.
Yeah,
shooting the ball.
He hadn't been practicing.
He hadn't been practicing. So, but he's so important to this team because of everything else that he does outside of the scoring.
Kentucky had 41 rebounds. So Kansas is 29.
29.
I'm looking at some of these stats. Kentucky had 19 assists, shot from 31 of 61 from the field, 6 of 18, which also Kansas shot 6 of 18 from 3.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just a beat down. And I don't think, a lot of these analysts they just are now jumping on like, man, Kentucky is for real. Kentucky is for real. Like, it's funny to me that they just now, and then you didn't have that element of the fan base going, put Shaden in, put Dante in, where was that
right.
at?
I think they were cheering, or there were chants for Shaden at the end of that game from our fans, which is crazy. Because you're in Allen Fieldhouse, right? And they've only ever lost 2 non-conference games by that margin in Allen Fieldhouse since 1955. Both of them happen to be against Kentucky, but to hear the CATS Cats chant, and to hear "Go Big Blue," and to hear that there was a we want Shaden.
It was
chant,
loud.
Coming from the crowd. Like, it's crazy that it happened. I tweeted out before, during the game, during the first half, I was like, I am not going to tweet anything about what's going on in this game until it's over.
I would. I said by 8
because
I said Kentucky win by
because
8.
I wasn't going to be that guy that tweeted something out and then they fall apart.
Yeah.
So I kept my Twitter off. I looked at Twitter.
You just gonna let me be that guy because
I just didn't tweet anything. I was gonna be superstitious and not tweet anything out until after the game. So, I was like, I said to my brothers, it'd be great if we're up by 15 at halftime. We were up 20. It got to be 9-10 minutes to go, and we're up 18, 20, 22 points or whatever it was. And then we got down to that 3.5 minute mark, and we were up 20 or whatever it was that we were up. And I was like, well, now it's over. I said to him, now it's over. My brother looked at me. He's like, it's been over since the 9-minute mark. I was like, no. See, Kentucky came back from 31 down against LSU with 11 minutes to go. I wasn't saying it was over when it was only an 18 or 20-point lead with 9 minutes to go.
Right. I mean,
Because
it's hard.
Louisville blew that same lead, that same
Right.
type of lead to Duke a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
They fell apart and against the Zion team. So I'm never against a team like Kansas, I'm never going to say it's over until it's for sure over. And when you're up 20 with 3.5 minutes to go, it's over. There's no way there's not enough possessions in the game for them to come back.
Right.
So that was when I finally felt comfortable to acknowledge what was going on in the game. Right. Was when there was like 3.5 minutes to go. And I said to my brothers, I was like, it's over now. So did I expect or think Kentucky could go into Allen Fieldhouse and win that game? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because of the way they had performed on the road at LSU and on the road at Auburn. And then you had injuries that affected the outcomes of those games.
Yeah.
So going into that game healthy.
I just want to see a healthy Kentucky team.
Because I think what we were seeing from Jack and some other people, like, Ty is going to attempt to play.
Yeah.
And I think most of that was kind of just a smoke screen so that Kansas wouldn't be for sure that Ty was going to be 100%.
Right.
I think his ankle looked pretty good, from the way he was able to play on the floor. I don't think the ankle was the factor in his scoring. I think it was just not practicing. Just not playing and practicing. Yep, that was all that was. So I thought Bill Self was going to throw his hairpiece there a couple of times. As red as he was getting.
Yeah.
Which would have been absolutely hilarious had that happened. Like I would have literally died.
Right.
If he had just grabbed his hair and thrown it.
And did you see
that's how he acknowledges that he's wearing a hairpiece.
Right. Did you see that he stopped Keon in the handshake line and had the conversation with him like, I didn't pick you for the USA basketball team. Are you mad at me? You come into my house and go for 27,
But we've seen that type of play from Keon before.
Yeah. Yeah.
He had 23 earlier. Yeah.
You just need an energy.
He just got to come out and he's got to create his own energy, create his own luck.
Right.
Because sometimes
with the team that we have as well, because they're going to give attention to Grady, attention to Sheebway. I mean,
attention to Ty.
So
you're going to have your chances to do what he did in this game. Maybe not to that level. And I don't think anybody expects him to be going off for 20 every game.
Right.
But consistently he should consistently be a 12-point scorer for this team.
Right.
Killing that mid-range jumper. It's
Mr. Mid-range.
Like, I still saw people complaining about mid-range jumper. Like, dude, he scored 27 points off mid-range jumpers. Like, that's his game. That free throw line, that elbow jumper, that's his game. And a lot of NBA players have made a lot of money playing that exact same way.
Yeah.
So
you get points for it. So
right. To me, it doesn't matter where the points come from. As long as we're scoring points, that's all I care about.
That's it.
That's it. Now, am I going to be a little upset if one of my shooters puts a foot on the three-point line instead of sliding it back 3 inches? Yeah, that's a little annoying. That may be the worst shot in basketball.
Right.
Because it doesn't affect, it doesn't really affect your shot by just sliding your foot back. You're not moving back any farther.
Right.
But
that's being aware where you are on the court.
Right. But we've talked about this before. I want my guys, my players, my team that I'm watching, that I'm cheering for, taking the shots that they're comfortable taking. I don't want Keon being that guy who's out there pulling 3 or 4 threes a game because they're open.
Yeah.
If he's not comfortable doing that, and if he's not going to hit them at a decent clip. But if he's comfortable taking that 15 to 18 foot jumper and he's going to hit it 50% of the time, take it.
Yeah.
Take that shot. If you're comfortable taking it, take that shot. Jacob Toppin hit a 3 in the game. Keon was 0 for 1 from 3.
Hit one last game.
Yep. He's hit 2 out of 3 on the season, so he's our leading 3-point shooter.
And what about our worst shooter? Remember the worst point guard to ever be at Kentucky? Severe Wheeler?
5 for his last 9. Yeah, shooting 55% on his last 9 3-point shots. But those guys, I don't want them taking 3 or 4 threes a game.
Right.
But like Severe, shot clock's running down, you're open.
Yeah.
Take it.
Yeah.
Toppin and Keon, you got that 3-point, that corner 3 that's open, take it. If you're the trail guy on a break and Severe or Ty drops it off to you at the top of the key or on the wing, and you're stepping into that 3 off the break, take that type. Those are the type of threes that I want those guys taking.
If you're Grady, pull up from half
wherever. take your 3 from wherever you want.
Whatever.
And I think there's times he needs to be more aggressive in taking his 3-point shot.
Yeah.
Because I think, he tries to be a good teammate at times and passes up shots that he could get.
Yeah.
But there's very few shots on the floor that I'm more confident in than a Grady 3.
Yeah.
Maybe Keon's free throw line jumper, but there's very few shots that are bad when they come from Grady.
Right.
He just passes them up.
Yeah.
Like he had 2 in this game where he came off the screen out to the wing and caught and he was still turning as he went up, and he didn't square his shoulders up till he's in the air.
Yeah.
Like, take more of those. If you're comfortable taking them, take more of those threes where you're rising. As soon as you catch the ball, you're going up.
And he has a little smirk. Like,
right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. That's what I do, ladies and gentlemen.
Do it more often.
Right.
But also, don't just settle for those shots.
Right.
If somebody's overplaying that shot fake, drive around them. Two dribbles to a pull up or take it all the way to the rim. So don't just settle for just those shots.
Right.
But I think there's maybe 1 or 2 more shots a game that he passes up that are open that he could be taking.
Right. Like I said, man, Kentucky spanks Kansas 80-62. And I don't think anyone saw a beat down like that coming. Of course, I said I thought they would win, but I mean, they're healthy. And I tweeted out, I want to see a healthy Kentucky team. And it blew up. Just simplest stuff. Because I've known from the get-go with all these pieces, this is a Final Four team.
Mm-hmm.
And I've joked about it. I've been serious, but everybody, people we've had on like, yeah, okay, I'm not ready to go there. I am. Final Four, with the pieces healthy, this Kentucky team can be great.
Me personally, I thought it was an Elite 8 team. But once you get to the Elite 8, you can make a Final Four.
Exactly.
So I thought like what their ceiling was an Elite 8 team. They've changed my mind. This team, like you said, when they are healthy,
right,
is absolutely a national title contender.
Right.
And
which
there
is crazy
was
because Cal just rolls balls out. So it's even crazier for that.
And he acknowledged that during walking to halftime. Yeah. So I imagine what they've done if they had a coach that could coach on the sidelines during that game.
Oh man.
Unbelievable. But there was a graphic that came out for the teams that are most likely to make the Final Four.
Right.
And Kentucky was one of those teams. And this was before the Kansas game. So even the computers and the metrics are starting to kind of turn towards Kentucky and give, I don't want to say respect because it's a freaking computer, but the numbers are starting to show what we have kind of thought all year long.
Basically,
what this team could be.
Basically, you're saying is respect our gangster. They finally catching on.
Yeah. And I think Jeff Goodman has him in his top 4 now.
And I want to bring that up.
CBS has them at number 3. They're 25-1. So like Ken Palm, they're number 3 in Ken Palm.
AP
So it's
poll tomorrow. Where does Kentucky rank?
so they were 12th going into that game.
Right.
I don't know what happened in front much. I don't know how many teams lost.
Right.
But I don't know how you can't reward Kentucky for what they did to Kansas in Allen Fieldhouse.
In their house.
To me, my son asked me that last night. I was like, I'm thinking top 7. That's what I was thinking where they would jump to from number 12.
Right. We were on the same page because I said 7 or 8.
I saw somebody tweet out that Kansas had a 4-spot drop and Kentucky should have a 4-spot jump. That would put them at 8. I'd be happy with that.
Right.
Because there's not a team on the schedule that scares me.
No.
There's not a game on the schedule that scares me. Is Alabama going to be tough? Yes, at home.
Oh, yeah.
Is Tennessee going to be tough when we go down there? Yes, because it's at home.
Yeah.
Are
we going to be healthy? We don't know.
If we're healthy, they don't scare me.
Right.
If we're missing any one of our pieces, then you start to wonder. But there's not a game left on the schedule that scares me, that I'm afraid Kentucky's going to lose. It's just not going to happen. And I wish we got Auburn again.
Right.
I wish we had Auburn again.
Right. All the negative Nancy's are like, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to complain about?
Right. Because there is nothing they can't complain about. So they're starting to become that team that we all hoped that they could be at the beginning of the season. We were talking about Oscar and his post presence, because we didn't have that physical post presence last year. And with Grady and Ty and Davion in their 3-point shooting,
I'll just say
being more consistent this year.
You can.
I know what you've said. I know what you've said
go
since the beginning.
and listen. You can go back and listen.
And that's
when we first started.
I took
Jay
that
Hayes
as
knew. Jay Hayes
as Jay Hayes just being drunk when we recorded the first couple episodes talking about this.
Jay Hayes knew all along.
But I also didn't want to get my hopes up.
Right.
So high at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
I wanted to see how this team came together and how they matured, how the chemistry they built. And it's
January.
It's been great watching it, and it's just now the end of January, and we've got a team that's playing like the teams usually playing mid-February, end of February.
Yeah,
so there's a lot to be excited about with this team and where they can go at the end of the season.
Right. You heard the man, Big Blue Nation. There is a lot to be excited about Kentucky basketball. You negative Nancy's. Hey, when we win by 15, I guess say we should have won by 25. There will be always something for you to complain about. I promise. So just hang on. But yeah, that's where we're at, man. Kentucky had a great week in basketball. Then we go to Vanderbilt, Vanderbilt comes to us.
Yeah, we got Vandy Wednesday night. Yeah.
That is our next go around. Hopefully we can stay healthy, because that is key to this team. But moving right along, do we have any, what time it is? The dumbest shit from Twitter this week?
Well, depends, Jay. We didn't send each other any tweets this week.
Right.
But I think
we want to finish up and touch on a topic that's been going on
for about a week now.
Yeah. A couple back and forths.
With
some idiots.
Yep. So anybody that follows us knows what we're talking about.
Right. Bullshit talk.
came
Adam.
out, mostly
Adam.
him, mostly Adam.
Yeah.
Came out and said some stuff last week that we disagreed with.
Right.
With the Shaden Sharp.
Right.
Now, do we necessarily, did we call him an idiot and a dumbass just for tweeting that out?
I called him a
absolutely.
bitch 'cause I think he's
absolutely
a bitch.
not. Absolutely not. But I've got the receipts from Adam and his trying to rationalize why Shaden should be playing.
Right.
Because he played AAU basketball against 5 stars.
Yeah. There was no debate there. Period.
Because he's gonna, as a top 5 pick, play right away when the NBA season starts.
Right.
Like that's the same as 2 weeks on campus when you haven't even practiced 5-on-5, getting a full NBA offseason and training camp before your season starts.
Yeah.
Like that's why he's going to play right away when he gets drafted, because he has all that training camp and offseason to get ready for the season, right?
Say it one more time for him. He's going to get
a full offseason and training camp
practice
to
and train to play in the
we all
NBA.
know AAU basketball is not Division I basketball.
Definitely
Look what's
not.
happening down there at Memphis, where he's treating his team like an AAU basketball team.
Dumpster fire.
Right. They're having problems. So when we called him an idiot and a dumbass, it wasn't for saying that Shaden Sharp should play necessarily. It was his reasoning for why Shaden Sharp should play.
Right.
It was his blatant disregard for practice time with your teammates of why he shouldn't play. It was all of that combined of why we called him an idiot.
Right.
And why I
called him a
an idiot.
bitch because I think he is a bitch, because he's one of those people that, will argue about something that they're wrong about and will continue and continue and continue.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm right. I'm right. I'm right. But like, you something else, man.
Right.
You are really something else. And then, it kept going. And
it kept going. And
he would tweet out, I hear from some folks that Shaden is going to play. Well, you ain't heard a damn thing. You saw some tweets like, oh, well, look at the shoes that he's wearing. That means he's going to play. Oh, well, he's not wearing no warm-up pants. Oh, he's going to play.
And that was another.
He signed 2 NIL deals. Oh, he's going to play. That's what you saw.
That was another type
inside source.
That was another offshoot of this whole thing. Because he had DM'd you some things that were pretty aggressive.
Right.
Any normal person is not going to take those as a passive text.
Right.
Telling you that we're going to have problems. Or that we need to settle this a different way. That's not wanting to talk something out.
No, I told him straight up, I think you are a bitch.
So after the Mississippi State game, I had noticed that he deleted all of his Shaden Sharp should play tweets.
Yeah.
Or that Shaden Sharp was going to play. Yeah. And that, after the game, he tweeted out, fact remains, we still heard that Shaden Sharp was going to play.
Right.
And then I called him out for it. He doesn't play, so you go and you delete all the tweets. So he comes at me again from his personal Twitter account because he has me blocked on their radio show, and says that he's living rent free in my head. And I flat out told him no, it's not that. I was like, after what you DM'd and then what I think you're a little bitch, and I'm going to treat you like one. I'm going to troll you any chance I get.
Right.
And
it's I'm going to keep simple though. You. If you put a shit take on Twitter, you'll get called out for it.
And it doesn't matter.
Don't take it personal.
And so then he starts a back and forth with me on his personal Twitter account.
Right.
And eventually I got to the point where I was kind of fed up, and I was like, dude, I'll be in Lexington on Wednesday. If you got some problems you want to try and solve, I'll be more than happy to help you solve if you want to. Nothing after that. He quote tweeted that. He quote tweeted that and saying that I think he was wanting to fight. You absolutely were putting those vibes out there that you wanted a face to face.
And he did invite me on his show.
And that I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
My schedule changed.
So,
Because
but I flat out told him, I was like, I knew as soon as I came back at you that you would back off. It's okay. And then that was it. That was it. It was done. So then they go on their show. I don't know what day it was. Wednesday or what? Tuesday night, Wednesday, whenever you were supposed to go on.
I don't watch that bullshit or listen.
I don't normally either. But because they were talking about us,
right?
I wanted to see what they were going to say and what he was going to leave out, because he left out all the stuff.
Oh yeah,
about from the DMs to you about we're going to have problems
part that
and all that stuff.
And that's
so he left all that stuff out. He left out all the stuff where he was saying that the AAU playing against 5 stars in AAU made him ready to go play Division I basketball.
Right.
He left all that stuff out. He also tried to put all of this on me, right? I'm a bad influence on you, Jay.
Damn.
Because on Rockin' Kentucky Blue with Michelle, you didn't say a whole lot.
That's crazy.
So Tim was like, I didn't know Jay was like this. It's got to be that JD guy. I felt dirty after listening to that segment. I needed to take a shower.
Wow.
Dude, stop acting like you're better than anybody else, because you're not.
Right.
I don't give a shit if you're on the fucking radio. Right? And that's where their superiority complex comes from, is because they've got their little show who gets to be put on the radio.
Right.
In Corbin or wherever they're at.
Yeah. Someone where no one listens.
It was all just like saying that, well, I had no idea these guys even existed. I don't know who these guys are. I've never really talked to them. We talked to you at a freaking football game. You know who we are. Like, it's not a surprise.
You wanted my fucking autograph.
And if we don't matter in the grand scheme of things, then why did what we say bother you so much?
Right. It boiled down to this. Y'all said some bullshit. You had a bullshit take. We have a segment on our podcast called The Dumbest Shit, which you put yourself on. You put yourself on that segment by tweeting some dumb shit. And then you continue to follow it up with more dumb shit. Mm-hmm. It wasn't never personal until you, Adam, made it fucking personal. And then when you made it personal, we made it fucking personal, and you backed out from there. And then go on to your little fucking show and try to say this and that when it didn't happen.
Well, he also said, like, coming back from the break. Last thing I want to say, I just want to put this out there. We sent an invite out to Jay to come join the show, and he just kind of backed off that.
Yeah.
He ducked it or something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
good thing I did, because I would have ate your ass up on your little show.
Like, dude, people work. Like, there's a reason why he wasn't on the show. Not because he was afraid of him. Not because he thought he was going to lose a debate, because you had no debate.
There was no debate.
And
it would have been an argument. It was in the best.
It absolutely would.
For one, my work schedule changed. That's the reason. But after talking about it, it was in the best interest not to go on that shitty program and just argue, because that's what it would have been. Argument. But that it is what it is. They can it. And let me say this, Big Blue Nation. If you put a shit take out there, you will find yourself on the dumbest shit from Twitter this week on Religiously Kentucky podcast.
And believe me, we're not clout chasing because we bring up a tweet from Larry Vaught or John Huang or Matt Jones or any of that stuff. Because it doesn't matter. Like, we'll have a tweet from Matt Jones or somebody like that. And then the next tweet
called out.
Then the next tweet that we're calling out is some dude that's got 8 followers.
Right.
And no profile picture. Like,
it
doesn't matter.
It's about the dumb shit.
It's about dumb shit. And we're not trashing people when we talk. We're trashing that particular tweet.
Unless you make it personal.
And you
say you want to put hands on me.
Right.
Then you're going to get that head lumped up. That's what I'm saying.
So there's like, I couldn't care less about their little show and they're and the Twitter beef or any of
And
that stuff.
also, they might want to go look at those numbers again.
Maybe.
Because
because if we want to be honest,
pull
like
the numbers, and
no,
no,
can go back and you can look at the Apple Podcast charts and see where their podcast is charting and where our podcast is charting. So I'm not gonna say it, but if you want to look it up, podbay.fm, just search their show and search our show, and you'll see the numbers, and you'll see the rankings on the charts for each show. So
and I will say this is the end of that.
Yeah, we're done.
Unless you put some bullshit on Twitter, and then your ass gets called out again. So for Adam and Tim, fuck you and fuck you. That was the dumbest shit from Twitter this week. Oh, it's always good to clear the air, and then what you told me. Some people, man, are just like that, but it is what it is, and people are gonna people. So but like I said, third time, if you put some bullshit out there on social media, Twitter, wherever, you get called out for it. And no one is safe. Not even myself, not JD. No one is safe.
We've put tweets by Dickie V on there when he starts saying some stuff about the transfer portal and that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't, like, it's not for clout chasing. We do this on our free time.
No one is safe.
Like, we're not doing this to do it as a job, right? We both have full-time jobs.
Wait a minute. We're not getting paid for this?
No. Like,
what the hell?
It's ridiculous that somebody thinks that we're taking this so, like, diehard seriously. The reason we do that segment is for fun.
Right.
It's
comedy.
You guys, Adam, are the one that made that last segment more than it normally is.
Right. It's comedy. It's comedy.
Chill out.
But man, what a great damn week for Kentucky basketball. Man, I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to March. I'm going to enjoy these games, but I'm looking forward to March with a healthy Kentucky team, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be a special finish, and we're here for it.
It's going to be, after the last two seasons where you had the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament canceled with the Quickly Maxey team,
right?
And then obviously what went on last year, there's no reason to say it. It's going to be nice to have a March back that's going to feel like a normal March.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
God willing.
So I think, we've got a team that's trending in the right direction.
Yeah.
For what we've come to expect in the postseason from them. So, and let's not forget, the team and the coach that has outplayed their seed more often than not, or is ranked number one in outplaying the NCAA tournament seed, is John Calipari in Kentucky. So let's not get it twisted about the type of success that we've come to expect at the University of Kentucky.
Right.
And it feels like this team is kind of like that reset to get us back to what we've come to expect at the University of Kentucky.
Deep runs, baby. Deep runs.
So now, whether that's Elite Eight, Final Four, National Championship, whatever, enjoy it. Because winning the NCAA tournament's hard. Winning 6 games in a row at that time against those teams is hard.
Yep.
and random, and the best team doesn't always win. So no matter if you don't base your team's success, and this goes for every team, every fan of every team, don't base your team's success strictly on winning a random six win tournament.
Right.
Because more often than not, you're going to be disappointed in your season if that's what you use as your barometer for a successful season.
Right.
So enjoy the ride and enjoy the wins as they come. And don't let the losses, whenever they come, affect you more than they should.
Right. JD, is Shaden Sharp going to play against Vandy?
I don't know. Could he play? Could he play?
I'm your guy, Jay Hayes, and he is
JD Hall.
And we are Religiously Kentucky.
This was another episode of Religiously Kentucky.
It was great. Thanks for the hospitality.
If you liked this episode, make sure to give us a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes and our opinionated take on the world of Kentucky sports. Religiously Kentucky.
Hell